Welcome to the Friends in Business podcast with your hosts, Ben Wright and Jemima Ashley. Ben, known as the sales strategist, and Jemima, our resident visibility expert, are here to share their wealth of knowledge and experience with a little fun along the way. Whether you're a leader, entrepreneur, or aspiring business owner, this is the podcast where we share everything we know about business to help you succeed. Let's get started. Welcome to the Friends in Business podcast.
Ben, we're back.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
Excellent. Very happy. A little bit weary today. I don't know why. I think it's just sometimes all that exercise gets the better of me. But intellectually, I'm firing and ready to go.
Gosh, that's ambitious. That's a ambitious way to start a podcast. I love that. Let's talk about you being a bit tired, though. Any reason? I reckon you had some big wins.
Oh, well, right now I'm actually on the grindstone. I am relearning how to ride and cycle. I'm getting back into triathlons.
As you just fell off your bike pretty dramatically.
I did have an accident and it has hurt, and I have got some stitches and some whiplash and some bursitis, I think I've been told. Yeah, so I've got a little short recovery ahead of me, but I'm getting back into triathlons. Yeah.
Yes, great. And you just actually want to let's not play this down a little bit, because you had a big win a few weeks ago.
Well, it was a few months ago. I spent last year doing something a little bit a life less ordinary, if you like. I went and started to do lots of aquathons. So they're run, swim, run races. And I guess I went as hard as I could and thought I'd see how far I could go with it, and had a good year.
I feel like you won a pretty big championship medal for that. Was there not like a big trophy? I do remember getting some photos from your wife going, Ben did something great.
Well, look, everything I say, it's amateur. Everything I do is amateur. But, I did. I was lucky enough to go, you got to qualify through, and those in the sport will know that, you train just as hard regardless, but sometimes having something extra to go for, even be it at an amateur level, is something cool. So, we went to the world champs for aquathons. So they have age group world champs. So for 40 to 44-year-olds, I ran around, had a crack for 40 minutes.
Yeah. And that crack that you had, if I remember correctly from the text messages I received, you came first in that. You were actually the world champion in that situation. Would that be factually correct?
As I look for words to avoid this conversation.
I knew what I wanted to talk about today, and I feel like I've nailed it.
Yes, I did have a good day.
Yeah. So you came first, if I was to say that in an appropriate way.
I did. Yeah. And I was lucky. I had some great help. A guy called Mitch Cunningham up here.
Which obviously he ran the race for you, so you didn't have to run that. Is that right?
Well, yeah, he's about 15 years younger than me. He's blonde hair. Mm-hmm. So he looks a lot like me. So he's crossed
the line.
I
actually saw the photos afterwards, and I can guarantee it was you, but you
and look, it felt really good because I had to work bloody hard at it. I wouldn't describe myself as a naturally talented athlete, but I would say I've got a really bloody good work ethic. And in fact, I'd say I'm almost, it's almost my superpower, right, is being able to work hard. But it felt really good. You got the Australian uniform, and I got a gold medal, and there was a podium. Actually, I got drug tested. You've spoken about drug testing. Yeah, it was 3 hours it took me to get the sample out. So, really pleased.
You must have been.
It's strange, right? Because it's only a 32-minute race, but 32-minute race in Townsville. It happened to be in Australia this year. In waters where they often see crocodiles and people don't swim. Right? It's funny how they don't swim here, but will go and throw, a few hundred people into this bitter, murky water, and weight of numbers will scare them off.
Do you know what the official term for that is?
I was going to say, what do you call when you throw bait out? Burley?
Buffet. A buffet.
Buffet. Very good. I like that. Well, yes, I was out the front, so I was the first part of the buffet when everyone's most hungry, right? And they take all the stuff in the very first part of the line. Everyone gets the bread, and you regret it once you get to the end, and it's the meat, the good stuff at the end. So, thank you for asking. It was one of the prouder moments of my life because I had to work so unbelievably hard to get to that level, and a lot of, I wouldn't say sacrifice, but I was tired for months and months training hard.
I was also watching this from, when I was here for recording. Obviously, we recorded at your place in Noosa. When we would have telephone discussions, there'd be meeting times. You're like, I just can't do that time. I've got this scheduled swim in. I've got this on. I've got that. It is a pretty. It absorbed a lot of your life for a period of time there.
Yeah, and look, compared to people who do Ironman triathlons, compared to elite athletes who give their life up, it certainly wasn't at that level. But yeah, I was watching what I ate, when I ate, how much I ate, how much I drank, what I did outside of training. But sometimes to get good at what you want to get good at, you've got to be able to sacrifice that stuff.
And I think really what we're going to talk about today is about that expertise part, and about the thing that you're an expert in sometimes is earned more than given to you, but also how we can get really clear about what we're an expert in and what we want to be known really for being an expert in.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself an expert in aquathons now?
Yes, it's such a relative question. If you
know
rephrase
a lot more
that,
than me, right?
if you rephrase that and you said, if you compared yourself to non-professional athletes around your age, I'd have to say yes. If you said, am I an expert compared to all comers, I'd have to say no, because the elite athletes and the younger athletes are a step ahead of me. So very much relative.
But you are in the 1% of the population, if not more minute, that one has been there, two participated, and three knows exactly the requirements, what you would need to do to get there, the training required. You would absolutely be, to a layperson, an expert in this.
If you compared me to the entire global population,
yes.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if I wasn't in the top 1%, right?
0.1% probably.
Right,
honestly.
Great. Well, either way. Yeah, okay, fair call.
And again, the Noosa population is a unique one, as every single person here is running a triathlon at the moment.
There's a lot of fit units running around up here. Yeah. Male,
it's fun
female, young, old.
Feel really good about yourself.
Yeah, some amazing athletes. In fact, I put a post out the other week. I got really pissed off about some of the comparisons between male and female athletes. I just thought female athletes were getting a real rough time, and it was actually the highest viewed post I've ever put out there, and it was the first time I put a Marley up on a post. It was and probably the last time I put her up on a post, but I was just sick of people being classified as male or female athletes, right? You're an athlete.
Yeah, you're an athlete.
Anyway, we digress. So 10 things, 10 ways to know if you're an expert.
I'm going to teach you how to actually come up with your 10 things today to get really specific on that. So,
great.
Because this is something I see all the time, Ben, and I know you see this as well. There's so many companies, you probably work with more companies that talk about what they're experts in on a daily basis.
Yeah, I do.
Electricity, selling cars, the sales, the things they're selling, they're in
healthcare, finance, plumbing, electrical, any of those stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
If we got a and this is an epidemic that I see all the time with business owners, they fail to recognise that they're an expert in their own industry, and particularly what they're around doing. So recently, I started working with an electrician, and one of the things I got him to do was explain in depth to me how to install a light switch. Ben, I've got a question for you. Could you install a light switch?
Oh, this is a tough one.
Not should you, could you?
Oh, no, could I? Yes, because I've got a pretty strong background through renewables and electrical and so forth. Yeah.
Could you name every product that you would need for that?
No.
Great.
No.
I would start a small house fire. You might have a shot of it. We shouldn't do that. Let me be very clear. This is a hypothetical situation. But the trained electrician who I'm now coaching at the moment to get more visibility and media in the business, they are the absolute person you should be chatting to. He had an impossible time trying to explain the basic thing that he does to other people. And this is something I am seeing again and again. So today I'm actually going to walk everyone through, and potentially you, an exercise to help you build out the expertise that's in your business so you can start telling other people about it.
Great. 10 things. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Number one, I want you to get very, very clear about what problem that you solve.
Okay, problem you solve. And that could also include opportunity you take advantage of, or you want to stick focus on just problem?
Just focusing on the problem right now.
All right, the problem that you solve. Are we going to have a running example of what the industry might be here?
Well, I'm actually going to get you to answer the question. So for you, what problem do you solve?
For me, look, I could do lots here. Let's get quite niche in terms of one area.
I want to get you really broad, actually. I want to take you up really high level.
Okay.
Because you provide sales skills.
Yeah. Okay, so sales growth.
Great. Amazing.
How to get sales growth.
Yeah. Here's my next question for you. Who do you solve that problem for?
So absolutely sales leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Is the prime group of people that I work with, but that would extend to business owners and to sales individuals.
Amazing. So we know that, Ben, in this scenario, you provide sales skills and sales growth and financial growth opportunities for businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That your main person that you're talking to are sales experts, sales trainers.
Sales or business leaders are my main
business
people.
Leaders inside businesses and companies.
Yeah.
Great. And they work for, historically, what kind of industries do you work for?
So I do a lot around healthcare.
Yes.
I do a lot around renewables.
Yes.
I do a lot around blue collar, electrical, plumbing, painting.
Which is why you could put in the light switch, we're not going to make you though.
Exactly right. Yeah, a lot around services, so mortgage broking, those type of things, and a lot of product FMCG style
and those
business.
are the ones that you like working with.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So straight away, instead of anyone being our client or potentially anyone we could work with, we're now niching this down a little bit. The only thing we're really solving is sales. We're not going to get distracted by that. And we'll talk about distractions in a minute because this is a big issue that I have, particularly when you start doing media and awards.
Yeah.
But if you get really clear about what problem you solve, who we solve those problems for, and the next question I always love asking at that point is, where are those people? How do we find these people? Where are those people spending time and money?
Yeah. So you want me to answer that one? So those people are spending time and money. Well, they spend time with their customers.
They do.
Right?
But I want to go a little bit away from just the day-to-day activity. I want to talk about this from the perspective and running everyone through this lens of what media outlets are they listening to? What conferences are they attending?
Yeah.
Where is their attention? So social media, and I'm going to talk about attention economy.
Okay, so if we're looking in those lenses, my customers, my ideal customers, would be spending their time on LinkedIn.
Great. So that's our social media platform that we need to be prioritizing.
Yep.
Now, does that mean, Ben, that they're not on Facebook or they're not on Instagram or TikTok?
No, I think they're spending their time on LinkedIn and networking. They'd be the two areas.
They are on Facebook. They are on Instagram. You should have platforms on that for sure.
Yeah.
But what's really important here is that you understand LinkedIn's a priority.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
So tell me about the media that they're likely reading already.
Okay. So
what TV they're watching, what podcasts, what other than the Friends in Business podcast they're probably listening to.
Yeah. So I think from a podcast point of view, they're going to have their own personal preferences around crime and so forth. But at a business lens level, they are going to be listening to podcasts around sales and leadership growth.
Yes.
I think you're going to be there two areas. So something like...
They're probably listening to leadership podcasts, how to grow and expand a business if they're the CEO. Like, remember, CEOs are making the decisions, CFOs are making decisions here.
Yeah.
That's who we're also chatting to.
Yeah. What type of mainstream media? I think that, for me, they're definitely looking through online news outlets. Yeah. So is it Financial, AFR, for more senior leaders at a sales level? I've actually found that their media attention is generally pretty fragmented. There's nothing in particular.
So what we then start to do, if we can't really drill that down, one thing we might do is look at what their habits are. Yeah. Are your people traveling? Are they likely traveling?
Yeah, most of them travel.
Great. Qantas Magazine is now your new best friend.
Right.
Because there's not much to do in those lounges and they always give you the Qantas Magazine. And when you get onto a flight, it's always there. This is not a bad place for you to be looking at. What podcasts? I would be going and looking at what Qantas is currently offering as their podcast on their apps. Because if you've got 2 hours and you haven't downloaded anything, you've now got a podcast that you can listen to. Why not be the expert on that one? Mm-hmm. So what we want to start doing is, first thing we want to do is get down, what problem do we solve? Who do we solve that problem for? And getting really specific and then figuring out where they're spending time and money. We know for you it's LinkedIn. We know the types of magazines. We know the places that they're going to be traveling to. We can know how to target them. My next question to you is this. Once we've established this, what we next need to do is figure out what we're going to start communicating with that audience about.
Right.
One of the things that you're an expert in are aquathons. My question to you is this. Do your CEOs and the sales leaders and team leaders here care about that?
No.
Why not?
Because it's quite a unique sport.
Absolutely. Now, would one of them potentially care about it?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
But is your time and energy best spent speaking about that? Or could we find other things to put on LinkedIn, into Entrepreneur, AFR, these podcasts?
I think I would have a very slow-growing business if my LinkedIn posts were around aquathons. Maybe a broader piece around health and fitness. There's something to talk about there. But certainly I need to be talking about different things than running and swimming.
And you would be shocked about the amount of companies, particularly that we speak to, that have no clear, definitive goals and communication around the tools that they're going to be speaking about.
Right.
It is shocking to me. So I'm going to give you, literally, companies pay very good money for me to sit down and explain this to them. This is my advice for this one. Ben, would you like to do the 10 things now?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
I think we're halfway through, aren't we?
We are basically halfway through. Our 10 things is what we do is we draw a big circle on a piece of paper and we put Ben right in the middle. And all of our work is obviously only centralized around you, so you do not replace it with your own name. Just kidding, put yourself in there. We then, to the side of that, we're going to put down our business name. So for me, it's Jemima Ashley, and then we have the Visibility Lab. And off that, I am going to draw 10 little lines on each of those.
Mm-hmm.
10 off Jemima Ashley, 10 off the Visibility Lab.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to write down the only things that I am allowed to speak about. I'm going to put down, Jemima will want to talk about awards, social media, PR. My business will want to talk about these too. So we can draw additional arms across. We'll share some stuff. But Jemima has some pretty good history in law enforcement, as we know from last episode where I talked about true crime. This is something Jemima Ashley is quite passionate about and is building a little side hustle about at the moment. Over here, Jemima Ashley will talk about this. What we have to do is get very clear about what those are for each of your businesses. For yourself being a business and a personal brand, and also your own company. Because what will inevitably happen as you grow and scale, you're going to have additional opportunities turn up.
Of course. Yeah. There's too many opportunities that come my way than I can handle.
Yeah. This here, once you've done this activity, so going through what problem you solve, that's really going to help get that down. For you, it's going to be sales. What else do you teach? Leadership skills, you teach about the gold coins, you teach about
change management, sales process, measurement metrics, celebrations. Yeah.
We're putting all your stuff out.
Yeah.
Once we have on each of those about 10 things, and there'll be some real crossover, do you know what we've also given you? That's your social media plan. That's your blog plan. You now have about 20 things sitting on those circles.
20 or 10?
Or 10 to 20, depending on how many, because we'll have some crossover.
Right.
We call it 10 things. Most people write about 15.
Right.
We want to push you a bit.
So the number isn't critical, right? But we just need to write down the key things that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
And stop somebody. Well, for me, I'd say let's put a hard stop at 10. Well, that would be my way of looking at this. Shocking. And then if I go to 11 or 12, not the end of the world, but if I say 10 to 20, I might end up with 30.
Yeah. So if you have, for one of ours might be social media, I would talk about LinkedIn being one of my social media aspects. And I could write a whole blog about how LinkedIn can help your visibility and your business and build your personal brand. And I'm always going to bring it back. So for you, your 10 things, we'll just call it the 10 things, the 10 things that you've written, that becomes your social media blueprint. If you deviate from that, you really have to start questioning why you're deviating.
Right.
So now we have the parameters about where we're playing.
Yeah, focus.
Completely focused. Because while we care about the aquathon and we love that you love that, we have to bring it back to these things. And you nailed it perfectly, because I can guarantee that one of Ben Wright's things is health and fitness. That is really going to impact your mental health.
I do talk around if you want to show up with a fit and healthy team, you've got to be able to show up fit and healthy yourself.
Absolutely. So you have this situation where you have to have that swing across. Like, this makes a lot of sense, how we can bring in the aquathon to talk about this stuff. what we see and tend to see is people ad hocing their thought leadership here. Everything that you're creating in this list of 10 things is all thought leadership pieces. It's your blogs, it's your social media. It's what the media is going to come and eventually talk to you about. It's when you get down the rabbit warren of starting to apply for source models, you're not getting distracted. Do you have a favourite holiday destination?
Well, it used to be Noosa.
Yeah, great.
So then we moved here.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Is it Melbourne coming back home?
I would say probably the Italian coastline.
Perfect. Let's say Amalfi Coast might be your favourite place in the world.
Sure.
We love that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you writing an article about that.
Yeah.
I want to see you talking about, if you want to write about Amalfi because you're there and you're feeling inspired about the holiday you just had, that you could say this is about health and wellness and making sure that you can have a healthy business that could fund you going on this trip.
Okay, so actually it's not so much 10 steps here about how to work out what you're an expert in. It's actually about sitting down and writing down those 10 key pieces. Yeah, and then using them to build out your social media content, to build out your blogging, to build out your program structures, to build out how you promote yourself in general as a business. So this is very much at a service level business.
Yes.
What about if you're at a product level business? How do the 10 things apply?
What I would absolutely recommend is start to look at the products, the benefits of the product, speaking about the product at an expert level.
Right.
Because that's the only person that's buying that anyway.
Yeah.
If you're trying to sell me a dredging tool, I'm not interested. But I tell you what, Steve over at Total Tools probably might care more.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with him. So what we need to do from a product-based business, we're talking about how we manufacture. We're talking about if it's a creation on site, if there's a design element. We're talking about what this is used for, how it's used, why we recommend it. Testimonials would also go a really long way for that. We're talking about in that leadership of why we should get it from you and not from your competitor. Okay,
so in a product-based business, we're writing down 10 things. I'm going to add to that. I know this is your show today, but I would really encourage when you're writing those 10 things down to think about outcomes.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily that your product will help you, what was the product you gave there as an example? Your piece of machine. A dredger, right? So it's not about that in fact, I have just had to do some trenching at my house.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I looked out the side and I was like, Ben dug a hole. Yeah, we should have had a trencher.
Well, I didn't. I actually had a trencher come in. And the reason that I used the trencher, I wasn't actually worried about the features and benefits. I was worried about the outcome that it would give me, which is saving myself time so I could then focus on my business, right? So you're selling a trencher, and if your trencher works a little bit faster than other trenchers in the market, but it perhaps costs a little bit more, you talk about, well, you're going to spend that extra $20,000 on this dredger. However, it's going to save your operators out there are going to be able to do it in 1 hour less for an 8-hour job, right? You're going to be able to charge the same, but they're going to get to more jobs. So you start to look at your return there rather than I've got the fastest dredger on the market.
It's amazing. We should go that way. I think what's important here is also that you're really selling that in here is that expertise part. Why are you the expert to go to? And just the competitor piece is always going to be huge here. Yep, you can go to us, but we're also going to pick the phone up if you've got an issue.
Yeah, okay. So again, that's an outcome that says, hey, if you have any after-sales issues, we're going to be the ones to call. We have a fully stocked customer service team. That's great. That's a nice feature and benefit. But the outcome here is when you have issues with your product, your downtime will be reduced, so you're making more money, right? So whilst you're paying more for our product, for example, you're actually, with the less downtime, you're earning more, right?
Yeah. So let's recap that off. So you're amazing at aquathons. We know that. We've learned that today. 10 out of 10. Congratulations. Again, that's actually really amazing.
I'm doing my very best to get away from this aquathon topic.
I know, and I'm really enjoying this moment that I'm making you sit on this for 20 minutes. But my favorite thing about today, Ben, just to recap today, was just getting very clear about what you're an expert in, because I see businesses do a very poor job of this, and we know inherently the things we're great at. What we fail to do is communicate it. So we're going to communicate it through social media, through blog posts. We're going to communicate it through the types of discussions we're having, the types of interviews we're having, the types of podcasts we want to go on. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask, what problem do we solve?
What problem do we solve?
Who do we solve that problem for?
Who do we solve that problem for?
Where are those people spending time and money?
Where are they hanging out?
Yep. So including the social media, the magazines, podcasts.
Yeah.
And we're going to get so clear. We're going to draw out that 10 things, that idea of exactly what we want to be known for as an expert for, and we're going to look at the outcomes that we're trying to get from that.
Okay, great. Problem we solve, who do we solve it for, where do they hang out, and what are the 10 key messages, outcomes that we can be presenting consistently to show our expertise. All right, so I'm sorry to repeat that again. We jumped around a little bit in that, and sometimes it's nice to be able to bring that into a concise framework, right? As we hear Cyclone Alfred in the background here, just starting to gear up in the wind piece. So thank you, Jemima. That was fantastic. For me, a couple of things to think about, as there always is, right? When you're open and curious to learning, I hope that everyone listening, right, there's some curiosity in there. At the very least, I would say, if you're only going to act on one thing, it's write down the 10 things that you or your business really excels at. Focus on the outcomes of those and start to tailor your content and messaging around it. That is the absolute nugget for me. We've gone away from the nuggets. We should get back to those. But any questions? Look into the transcript for this one. It'll be easy to find through the podcast show notes. Otherwise, we've been your friends in business. We are going to survive the looming cyclone, and we will see you next week.
I've been tried and I've been tested.
Thank you for listening to the Friends in Business podcast. This episode was brought to you by your hosts, Ben Wright and Jemima Ashley, recorded in beautiful Noosa, Queensland. For more insights and resources, visit Ben at strongersalesteams.com and Jemima at jemimaashley.com. If today's podcast has helped you, we'd be so grateful if you could leave a review and share with someone you know. This will help more people in the world benefit from the hard work we're putting in to bring you the best content we possibly can.